In the Woodyard, we're making little pieces of wood again. I got Kenny's second oldest son here today, Jed. He's helping out. You'll get to see him later. So Kenny has, in case you're wondering, Kenny has lots of kids. Like, mathematicians are still working on counting them all, his offspring. They have a team of guys working on the number of offspring he has between kids and grandkids. It's going to take a while for him to figure it out, but so this is Jed. This is his second oldest. No. Yeah. Third? I don't know. Third, I think. I think this is number 3. He's got a bunch of them. Anyway, so he's actually an electrician. He's got some time off, and he said, hey, I need something to do. So he might be here for a week helping me work because he's got some time on work. And he's learning how to run the machine right now. I said, go ahead and play with it. So we're going to run ash today. That's what's going to happen. So we're going to get busy.
So I thought I'd talk through kind of what's happening here. I'm just showing Jed how to bring the logs forward, how to clamp it down, and then cutting, just showing him what the levers do and how you want the log to fall, and then when to do certain things, how to adjust the wedges, and everything that needs to be done as far as processing the wood. And just kind of talking him through. He's a bright guy. He figured it out real quick, and being that he's in his early 30s, I think he's 33-ish, they catch on real quick to stuff, and he did really good. Now I realized after I ran these first couple of rounds through that we had the 4-way wedge, and I totally forgot we had to change it. So we're going to shut the machine down and raise up the wedge here, and then I think I pull the wedge out. Actually, I'm going to resplit some of these smaller ones here. Resplit the rounds down into smaller sizes because they're too big. I showed them about, how to hang on to the chunk and then run them back through again. And we're going to swap out to the other wedge so that we can make the pieces the proper size. They're 16 inches long, but we want them to be, hand-sized pieces. And the 4-way is nice for boiler wood, but it's not right for what we're doing. This wood is going to be, fireplace wood. So the 4-way wedge, I think, weighs maybe a little over 100 pounds, 110, maybe 120. I don't know. It's about all you want to lift. And I'm just going to chuck it out onto the dirt out there. And then Jed brought over the 8-way, and the 8-way is a little heavier because obviously it's more metal. So he got it up to me, and then I lifted it up in there, and it's just real easy to change out. There's nothing to, there's no big bolts or things you got to undo. It's pretty much just slide it in. And I've used the tractor before to lift it up and set it in there. I've done it by myself, and Kenny and I did it one time. But if you lift right, it's not terrible that way. And it's just a slot. You just slide it in, you'll see how it just falls right in there. It's pretty dang easy to swap out wedges. And when we had the 22 MB, it was a half-hour project. To get the tractor, to put the strap on it, take the bolt out, and put the clevis on and lift it up. And they were so much heavier, you had to use the tractor. There's no other way to do it. Whereas this thing, what did that take? Like 30 seconds? It doesn't take long at all to swap them out. Very user-friendly. And I'm just showing them how doing the resplits, you just throw them back in the chamber and then just run them back through. So if you do get some bigger ones, that he can do that, so that he was aware of how it works. And so I'm just showing him, to make sure you pull the bar back up, the clamp up, and then reclamp it once it gets to where you want it, and then just pull down on the lever and it'll fall in. And then if you get a piece that falls, sideways like that one did, you just reach in and fix it. Whereas in a big processor, you can't really do that. You got to kind of reach out with a pickaroon or something and try to turn it. Or if you've got a machine that's got a roller system on it, sometimes you can spin them around and get them where you want to go, which does work. Certain size pieces, I find, will fall crooked and other ones fall perfectly. The little bitty ones fall really nice, and the really big ones fall really nice. It's these medium-sized ones for some reason that I don't know what it is. And it seems like the longer the piece is, like if you get a 20-incher, they fall much better. They fall straight in, which works out really well. And so I'm just showing him kind of how to run the levers here so he knows what to do. So then I let him have at it and let him make mistakes. And I said if he screws up, just hold his arm up in the air and he can wave at me and I'll come fix it. So he dropped his piece in. He's looking at the levers to see what they do, and then you remember that is the one. And he's getting advanced. He's advancing a log while he's having the ram go forward, which is generally you do that once you learn the levers, but he hit it right away. Then he saw that the ram was not all the way back, so he pulled that back and then did the rest of the cut, which you can do. So he's got to remember to pull the saw back up here. Hopefully, come on, get the saw up. Oh, he's ramming the round through, and then he should lift the bar up. Well, I can't remember what happened there. I think he asked me for something, so we started over here. He's cutting again. You can see it drop there. Now he had a double drop, so the best thing to do in that situation is pull that one out. He's going to throw it back out there. Just pull that out of there. What I would do is kind of hold it to the side, split the one, and throw the one that's a short. It's a butt piece. I would pull that completely out of there after doing a split on it and throw it into the Birchwood. And obviously, most of the time you want to split it like that, like he just did. You want the fresh cut to go through the wedge first. And I think he did it part of the way through, and then it got jammed. He didn't realize you can just force the ram through, or just pull it out of there and throw it there. He's going to throw it in the bin, so that's good. And then he's got another big log coming in here. He had some big ones I put on there for him, some bigger ash pieces, which are nice. And ash is a real dry wood, and these logs are all like 6-7 months old since they've been cut, so they're really pretty dry already. A lot of this wood, I noticed when I looked at it when we were cutting it, it probably could be burned immediately. Very good wood. Ash is, and unfortunately we're not going to be much of it in the future. So there you got the blade back up. There you go, and now you should ram it through. Come on, ram it through. There you go. Oh, and he's advancing along at the same time. See, and that takes a while to get the hang of that. He's working on it already there. So he's got to advance, and he's going to, got to clamp it and then cut. And like I said, this ash is dry, and dry ash cuts hard. It's a slower cutting wood than even oak. Oak, everybody thinks is such hard, great wood, but oak is actually a wood that cuts pretty easy because it's very moist. It's got a very high moisture content, whereas ash is very low moisture content. So I think it cuts much harder. Once it dries out, it's real hard to cut. Tough on the saw as far as the power that you need to go through it. There he's doing a good job. You can see the pieces going up, nice size. Nothing wrong with any of those. And being that it's ash, they can be just a little bit bigger because they're going to dry so fast as they are if they're not dry already. There again, he's ramming the log through the wedge, and he's advancing the log at the same time, which can get you in trouble because if you're not watching the end of it, sometimes you can have a log drop in on you. There he's squeezing it forward just a little bit at a time there, and then he clamped it. There you go. He's got to finish the ram. It takes a while to get your sequences down as far as which lever to pull, what time exactly, and how it affects the other ones. See, I would raise the bar up. He's ramming it until not, so as you raise the bar up right away, and as your ram comes forward, you can then advance your log. There, he's going to bring the tip tray in, or the last cut tray, and then you clamp it. And if you get really good, you don't even need to use that tray. I find that it's faster and easier just to reach in, hold the end of the log, and then cut it. And what he's running into here is his cookies on the back side, and his good wood is out front. You should have it the other way around. If you look to the back, I can't remember if he's got it clamped. So I actually cut the short piece off first most of the time, and then toss the cookie into the basket for boiler wood, and that way you don't have to worry about that piece falling out or anything. So now he's got to reach in there, and then when they get bigger, they're hard to move around there. It's pretty easy for him. Sometimes they're real easy. And the next one might be big enough that he can split it. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Yeah, it's a little guy. So what I told him to do is a small one is just break them in half and then throw them into the boiler wood basket that's off to the side, because I can sell the small ones, but I just want them to be uniform. So here he dropped another nice good sized log in here, and these are, I don't know, this might be like a 16-inch or something like that, maybe 18. Really nice size wood. You get a lot of good pieces out of it. Fairly easy to handle. They're not so big that you can't manage them, even in log form. They're not terrible. You can see the logs going, the pieces going up the elevator here. Here, I think he's gonna seize a piece that it was. Yeah, there's the small one. He remembered to pull that out of there. I told you he was smart. He didn't get that from Kenny. So yeah, you kind of clear that. There should be another one underneath there somewhere, but he's got to advance it here. And I find if you keep the clamp, that's the part that's got the teeth on it in the back there, if you keep that clamp just above the wood a little bit, it keeps your log from falling in, and you don't have to go all the way up. Like right about there is good, but as long as you clear the bar, there you scrape the bar a little bit. You don't want to bend the bar as you're advancing the log. But if you can keep it as close as possible, but not have it get pushed by the advancing log, that's a good place to keep it, because that way you can advance it fairly quick. Now he's got a mess coming up here. I can see it's got a big root flare in the back end. So we'll see how he deals with it. I can't remember if I had him run it out the back of the saw, back of the live deck. I should say the trough, the infeed trough. And I think then we turned it around and cut the butt off. I can't remember. Seems to me that's what I did. Let's see what happens here. So we split that one. And then I think, yeah, well, maybe he's going to be able to get a piece out of it here. Yeah, I guess he does. It's later. Oh, he's got it in crooked. That's why it's cutting so hard. So because it's at such a down angle, you're basically not making a clean cross cut. You're making an angled cut, which is, it's just a slow cut, and he's going to have an angled piece then too. So it makes it tougher. I call that a Husqvarna. You know, on a Husqvarna you don't have that, but on a steel you have it. We call those steel cuts. And yeah, the top one that he just split out of there, I would resplit that. There's I can't remember. Yeah, I must have seen it. I come in there. So I'm moving the trailer and I'm setting stuff up, moving a wedge, and I'm bringing a tote in. See here, this is the one you should turn around. It's an odd one. So he's gonna have problems with it. So I think I tell him to run it out the back and I spin it around for him. I can't remember what I did here. Yeah, because his clamp is not going to clamp, so I think I told him to run it back. Yeah, and then I'm just going to spin it around for him. And that's the easiest way to do it. You get a big flare like that, you're better off just cutting that off. So you cut the short piece off of it and then toss it. And it's easier to keep, see that how crooked that cut is in the head? It's easier to keep your good piece to the back, and then that way that can drop in, because you don't have enough space between your clamp, or there's too much space between your clamp and where it falls in. And that's true of any processor I've ever seen, that you really want to cut your cookie off first, not at the end. It's because there's nothing to clamp onto. I think that's what I'm telling them, to advance it just enough. I think then I show him in the back, there's a mark. I think I showed him where the mark is so that he can see it. Oh yeah, there we go. I told him to bring the tray out. So otherwise you get a big butt, and yeah, there, I'm telling him in the back, you can see we've got a mark on the trough. So you can see right where to stop it. So you got 16 inches from the bar to the back then, instead of having the 16 inches out the front, and that way you get rid of your trash. So yeah, we're yelling at each other, he got it. So I think then he clamps it and cuts it. Yeah, and that worked pretty good to do it that way. Then he's going to get rid of that. And a lot of these big chunks that we cut off, these butt pieces like this, we will split them just in half so that they're easier to handle for Bert and they dry better. But that ash, I remember, was very, very dry. I told him just to run it until we break it in half. Here we go. I can't remember, I just throw it in like that. Yeah, and that way Bert can, there, it broke apart when I threw it in there. And then he can advance the whole piece and then ram it through with the wedge. Probably going to fall in crooked. I can't remember what it does here, but that does happen often. You'll bring a piece in and it'll drop in like that. And you have to just reach in and spin it around. When you do that, you got to be careful. I've hit my elbow a couple times on the wedge. That wedge is sharp. So you got to kind of watch when you're reaching. Now I'm going to pull all these big ones in from this big chunk, and I'm going to do resplits. I said just keep churning them through. Break them down a little bit more. They're not terrible, like that one's too big for my customers. There's another one right there I can see wanting to go up the elevator soon. That one I should break down. And that one there. The one that's almost going to go in the elevator right now, I think that's one that should be resplit. Hey, it's going to go up if I don't catch it. There it goes. She's going up. So I missed one. That's okay if you miss one. Once in a while. There's another good one there. Yeah, it's too bad all the ash trees are dying. It's such nice firewood. It's easy to cut, easy to split. It's just nice straight wood generally. And some of the people that are what we call wood snobs turn their nose up to it, but it's good wood.
So there you go, we're done processing for the day. We did 2 full loads as you saw, and we've got a couple logs there, one here, and a little bit over here. We're gonna finish that tomorrow. Jed had to go, he's got something going on, but we got a couple loads done. I'll walk out and show you the bin. We had about 100-mile-an-hour winds today. It's gotta be like 40 miles an hour anyway, feels like 100. And we both got lots of sawdust and dirt in our eyes from running the processor and being over there on that concrete where all the dust blows. We didn't do any resplits today with the Easton made because this is all ash that's in the bin, and we did resplits as we went just by flipping them back in the chamber. You probably saw that happen. And so we just ran them up. So there's 2 piles right here in this cone, and there's 1 pile in that cone, or 1 load. So this is 3 loads, and each load is 4.5-ish. And we'll run that up all the way tomorrow with the rest of the wood and maybe move it over, run some more. We still got room. I got to close that off. We got a lot of room in here yet, but this is going to be all ash in here because we got so much ash. We're just going to keep piling it in there. So that is what the plan is. So we're going to be back at it tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. I'll be here. Jed will be here, and we're going to be working. See you then. Good night, Irene.